Perhaps our story started many years ago with us on our trip around Australia. Let us introduce ourselves. My mum, Nance Walker, 6 weeks earlier had her first child, Rhett, at Cairns. That's me. I'm Rhett. People have told me I was Australia's youngest explorer. And there's my dad, Pete. To all of us, this kind of life is new, exciting, and sometimes frightening. Here's Uncle Cliff. He'd just returned from 2 years in Vietnam. Our Biff is a mixture of every kind of dog imaginable. He'll play with anyone or anything, but should someone touch our equipment, he will eat them.
And now a dream is coming true. Our aim is the very tip of Australia. We were warned to expect every conceivable difficulty. Near vertical creek crossings, tracks so narrow that we wouldn't squeeze through, deep patches of bull dust, sand, wide and deep rivers, and the bottomless black bog. Also, we were told that should anything go wrong, we would be on our own.
For months, Pete, Cliff and myself had worked till all hours of the morning. We'd bought a movie camera and decided to record our trip on film. We had rented out our house, room by room, and moved into the boat in the street. With only 4 weeks before rent is due, with $100 cash in our pockets and next week's rent to cover the mortgage, with our standard flying, and perhaps more than a little fear mingled with our excitement, we left to head northwards. When people knew we were going to have a baby on our trip, they said we were mad. But so many never do the things they want to in life. I knew that if I'd had my baby at home in Sydney, everyone would think of more reasons why we shouldn't go on our trip. As my time drew near, we camped the boat, quite close to where I'd go. My friends and family were so far away. All I wanted was to hold my baby. My son. We called him Rhett. We brought him home to the boat, and he too joined the team.
Although we didn't know it at the time, our actions were changing our future lives. We would always love the bush and nature's environment around us. We loved the freedom, the knowledge that just a few feet from the edge of the track, no white man had ever trod. We enjoyed to see and touch things that very few ever experience, to find that our reliance had to be totally on ourselves. Whatever we got into, we had to get out of on our own. It was this that was changing us to become the kind of people who would be crazy enough to want to throw in excellent careers and go exploring the remotest places on earth.
I can remember how it all started, as if it were yesterday. It was Sunday night when Cliff came to say goodbye. We were losing a friend. For tomorrow he would be on his way to the war in Vietnam. Deep down we thought of the possibility of never seeing each other again. The three of us had shaken hands on a promise that we would go crocodile hunting when Cliff returned. We never did catch our croc, but that was the start, the beginning of everything. We were all restless spirits, reaching out and searching for something. But each one of us found it hard to climb the wall of life's teachings and walk away from safety and material security. Our adventures were teaching us all sorts of lessons. Alongside the track, Cliff caught sight of a goanna. None of us had seen a goanna at such close quarters. Pete was filming and couldn't properly see what was happening. With a big smile, he asked if goannas had teeth. I just held the bandage up for him and hoped he would leave well alone. If you didn't know it, you would swear it was a prehistoric dinosaur. With a hasty nip to the fingers, the triumphant goanna wins the day. And so, a little more was learnt about Australian wildlife.
We'd discovered rapids. Cliff seemed to be enjoying himself, so I decided to join the fun. If you could call it fun, being swept along by a gushing torrent. Giving up our jobs had been the hardest part of the trip for Cliff and myself. Nance's greatest fears were whether she and Rhett could cope with this kind of life, or if they would hold up the expedition. Funny, really. Everyone had told us how stupid we were to leave our security to go adventuring after all the years we had put in studying for our qualifications. We would never be able to get good jobs again, with a reputation for doing harebrained things. Yet when we arrived back, Cliff soon became Australia's youngest town clerk, and I took an engineering job at double the salary that I'd left on. Blimey, we've done it this time, mate. The trailer front set of wheels had torn away as we hit a tree. The centre bolt had sheared. The wheel lay in a tangled mess, and spring leaves were scattered along the track. We searched all we had for something resembling a centre bolt. Nothing. Then an idea. With the aid of a fire, we could shape part of our spanner kit to make a piece of metal to rivet the spring leaves together. Soon we were mobile again. Almost all the creeks gave us problems. We ended up dragging the boat on its axles over this one, as the track was only a narrow ledge. In spite of all this, we enjoyed the creek's refreshing water, particularly Rhett, who takes his first swim. Rhett was really settling in and enjoying the jogging around whenever we were in motion. Something to cheer us on our way. It was good to know that there was only 4 million bumps to go. The further we went, the harder it became. We had dragged our unit over 2,000 miles, with people all the while telling us we couldn't do it. And now, with only 12 miles to go, the fear creeps into our minds that maybe they could be right. It's not that it's hard, and it's not that it's endless. It's the fear that your spirit will break. 70 miles the first day, 30 the next, then 12, 5 today. Will tomorrow be 2 miles, 1 mile, or even trapped with no way forward or back? Fan belt off, canvas over the radiator, fast idle set, electrical system waterproofed, oil breather plugged, tyre pressure reduced, and the Jardine River was dead easy. at last, the very tip of Australia. For us, this is an extremely proud moment. We had accomplished something that everyone we knew had told us was impossible.
From Cape York, we had gone to New Guinea in our small boat. We had many adventures in the Torres Straits and had become marooned on an island when the weather had picked up. Because time was running out for us, and we could be trapped by the wet season, we knew that we would have to return in less than perfect weather back to Australia. We all knew the risks we must take. The wind was coming from the southeast, and the current was running against the wind. Through half-closed eyes, I could see the waves beginning to stand up on end. All the time, it was getting rougher. The trip back nearly cost us our lives. If we died, that was our own fault for taking the chances. But Rhett had not asked to come along on this trip, even though he was one of the adventurers. We had gone too far to turn back. There would not be enough fuel to get us back to Australia if we did. Maybe it wouldn't matter soon.
The last part of our trip we had not filmed. All our efforts were on staying in our little boat and keeping afloat. Afterwards, for a long while, we never wanted to go to sea again. Perhaps we'd settle in suburbia forever. Later, slowly the courage returned. We would build a yacht that would be strong enough to go anywhere in the world. A yacht with which we could explore the remotest areas of the globe, to search for paradise. A yacht which could be totally self-contained, a Noah's Ark, and that was the birth of Stormbreaker.